What's up everybody, it's Extreme Collects, and today we're going to be talking about things you should know about the Skylanders 3DS exclusive villains. So without further ado, I'll let my friend Pinkia start and tell y'all who the villains are.
The Skylanders 3DS games have different villains, from Chaos, the first one being Hector, a servant of the darkness, and the second being Captain Frightbeard. He can use all the elements to his will, and the third is Count Moneybone, by far the most known villain from the 3DS games, and the last 3DS exclusive villain is the Dream Chief and Sleep Dragon.
Alright Pinkia, thank you for that intro. Now I'll talk about some honorable mentions. The first two I'll talk about are Captain Frightbeard's crew, Captain Squidbeard and Captain Rustbeard. Captain Squidbeard is the first boss fight in Skylanders Giants on the 3DS. His primary, he swings his anchor around, and his secondary, he shoots a rapid fire of anchors depending on how far you are from him. If you're really far from him, then he'll continue to shoot infinitely. If you get closer, then he'll stop and try and hit you with his anchor. That's all of his attacks, but there's also a spinning fire hazard around the map that can also threaten and damage you while he summons enemies. Captain Rustbeard is very similar to Captain Squidbeard, but he's basically better in every way. First, in his boss fight, he summons enemies on you while shooting lasers at you from his eyes. After you get to wave 2, he'll jump down from the platform and begin to attack you. His primary is like 3 slightly fast hits, and they do a very good amount of damage. His secondary is just like Captain Squidbeard's, but more damage. Just like before, he'll shoot a bunch of saw blades at you, depending on how far or close you are from him. If you're further, he'll keep shooting them over and over again. If you get close, he'll try and attack you with his primary. But now, this guy has a third attack instead of just 2. Once you damage him enough, he'll begin standing still and charging up a bunch of electricity. And once it blasts out, it'll send a shockwave that damages you a bunch. Like enough to dang near one-shot a lot of your Skylanders, depending on if they're low level or not. And you might think this is pretty easy to dodge since he stands still, which is valid, but he can sometimes blast it 2 times instead of 1. This is basically a guaranteed one-shot, depending on if you get unlucky. I will talk about Hector. His attacks aren't really all that, but they're definitely some of the coolest that I've seen from the 3DS games. His primary is shooting lasers, and his secondary is shooting tornadoes. He can also spin around platforms with spikes and make you face through them to fall off the map. He can also amplify enemies to make them stronger and bigger. Other than that, he is mainly a platforming boss fight that tries to pull you off the map with tornadoes and phasing abilities. Next is Captain Frightbeard, who can literally control every element, kinda like how Spyro can, but just doesn't choose to do it for some reason. Captain Frightbeard's primary is swinging his sword, and his secondary is one of the most strong attacks that he has. He charges up a shoulder rush, but if it hits you, it does a bunch of damage and knocks you back slightly. And he can also do this 2 times sometimes if you're unlucky. After that, he'll eventually jump back on his post and begin using the elements with his sword. One is fire that obviously does damage over time. This is the worst one. His other one is magic that pulls you in and does damage over time. This is the fire one, but better. After that, he has electricity. This literally sets up a ring of electricity. If you can't escape it in time, it'll burst out and electrocute you. His coolest attack, if you ask me. His last attack is being able to send blocks down. Mind you, he can do this while he throws his sword down. And he can throw a second sword down sometimes while he already has a sword down. It's a very unlikely and rare occurrence, but I swear it has happened to me. He is kinda broken sometimes. Next is Count Moneybone, who has 3 different boss fights. But for the sake of the video, I'm only gonna talk about his final one, which is very unique. The first stage of his boss, he doesn't do much, but he has a good amount of attacks. He can send a tracking missile after you. He has punch attacks and a blaster. That's pretty much it before he'll fly away for stage 2. Once you get to the second stage, it's pretty much the same, but he gets a slam attack with a shockwave. Once you get to the third stage, he's basically everything he was before but buffed up. He can do all the same attacks. His missile now shoots other mini missiles at you that can almost one-shot you if they all hit. He can double slam now, and he can summon enemies that are kinda hard to destroy, I'm not gonna lie. And at the end of the boss fight, you think he would just die and give you your XP. But no, he's ignorant. He'll slam down one more time and begin breaking dancing while shooting at you. This does enough damage to kill multiple of your Skylanders in one take, just so you can get the last laugh before you kill him. Alright, the Dream Sheep and Sleep Dragon are our last 3DS exclusive villains, and I'll let Pinkia explain them to you.
The Dream Sheep and Sleep Dragon are the final 3DS exclusive villains. The Dream Sheep has 4 boss fights, but I'll only talk about the last one. The boss fight takes place in a circular arena with a fire engines on the ground. To damage you, the Sleep Dragon will attack during for a while, his primary being a slam and the secondary being a shockwave jump. His other attacks are Flame Breath, Air Breath, a Tail Swipe, and the Super Tail Slam. When he does the Super Tail Slam, he will get stunned, allowing you to attack his tail, which makes the Dream Sheep fall off, allowing you to damage his boss meter. After he gets back up, they'll summon enemies and the boss cycle repeats.
Alright, those are some of the things you should know about the 3DS villains. Let me know if y'all want a part 2. But yeah, this is the end of the video, so have an extremely great day or night depending on where you live, and Extreme Flex out. Peace.